Hello, I'm Sarah and welcome to my knitting podcast. I've been knitting so much over the past 2 weeks. I was getting over COVID for one of those weeks and was isolating in this very room, so I didn't have all that much to do. I had nowhere to go and I had a lot of things to work on, so that's probably why I've done so much knitting. But also I finished up my dissertation for my master's program after working on it for a really long time. So I've also had a lot of free time all of a sudden, which has all been funneled into knitting as well. So I'm excited to show you everything I've been working on. And I just have one finished object and it's a small one. I showed you this last week when it was just the very bare beginnings of a project, but this is a hat for a baby. It's for my boyfriend's niece. Her name's Margaret, and it's a 1x1 ribbed hat. I used hedgehog sock yarn held double. I did a 6-point decrease on the top. I think that this is a little bit smaller than I would ideally want it to be, but I think it'll fit her. I don't really know how big a baby's head is. It does kind of fit me. I mean, it slides off, but it fits. So I think it should probably fit her, right? And I added this little stem and leaf to the top. Both are done with double knitting. Both are knit right onto the top, so they're not gonna come off. It's not a choking hazard, and I just think it's so cute. Margaret, the baby, really enjoyed blueberries when I was last visiting with her. So I got this yarn at my boyfriend's brother's wedding, and this is now their kid. So I thought it was a very cute, like, little sentimental project for them. And I think she'll look so cute in it. I hope it fits. I did a slip knot cast on, which is my favorite cast on for anything that starts in rib. It's very stretchy. I think it's a really neat finish, and I am quite quick at it, although I was not so quick at it at the beginning. I don't remember what pattern I first used it in, but I really like it, and I don't think it's a very popular cast on, so if you're looking to try a new cast on for ribbing, give it a shot. There's loads of tutorials online. I think that the variegation looks really nice with this rib and with the two yarns held together. I might see if I can adjust my seating a little bit for better lighting. I don't know if this is any better. I think it's actually just better this way. So we've got this hat, and then I'm making a matching one for my boyfriend's mom. So with granddaughter, grandmother matching. And I am only at the very beginning stage of this. I'm doing this one with one strand on 2.25mm needles, and I've just done the cast on in one row. So it's very early stages, and I am just sort of estimating the number, so I might end up needing to take it out and do it back up if it ends up being too big, but hopefully it will work out. This is sort of a project. It's maybe going to be like a Christmas holiday present, so I'm not really in a rush, and I quite enjoy having like a project on very small needles, like a sock, and so this will fill that place, especially once I get past this first couple rows where it's kind of hard to get the needle in for the first few rows, so should be good. And I think with it being held single, I'll definitely have enough. I have 66 grams left of the yarn, so it should be enough to make an adult hat. I don't know if I'm gonna put the little leaf and stem onto this one. I thought about making it like detachable, but then maybe I just won't do it. I think she'll probably get more wear out of the hat if it doesn't have like a blueberry top. But I do think that it's so cute. I think I just cast, I decreased down to 12 stitches. I cut the yarn of the blue, I looped it through, but I didn't pull it tight. Looped it through, I think, 3 times, but leaving this, as it passed between the first and last stitch of the round, I left that loose so I could tighten it. And then I didn't take those stitches off of the needle. I knit 1 round in the brown with the same needle size. The brown, I think, is Twig from Hedgehog Fibers. No, from Sugar Plum Circus. And then I separated out, I think I added a couple of stitches. I separated out 6 stitches, no, maybe 8. And I did some double knitting with 1 stitch, just plain garter on each end, which gives it this like knobbly edge. Except for this one, I missed one. And then I just cast off regularly when I felt like it was long enough. The leaf, I think I also started out with 8 stitches and established the double knitting. And then I also kept like 1 on each, 1 garter stitch on each edge of the leaf. And for the first, I don't know how many rows, maybe 4 rows, I increased 1 stitch on either side of the center stitch on both the front and the back. It was a bit fiddly. I don't think I could do it again exactly the same. I could definitely do it again and have it look pretty much the same, but it was not a scientific process, so I don't think I could recreate it exactly. When I got to the maximum number of stitches, I think I knit 2 rounds, and then I just decreased, center double decreased. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. And then I think I did like 1 extra stitch at the very end to give it a bit of a pointy top, and then I wove all of the ends in. So from the inside it looks like this. Oh, that's the end that I wove in. And I've given this a good wash since I made it when I had COVID. Also, just, it's good to wash things before giving them away, in my mind. And I just think it's so cute. I think it came out great. I can imagine a baby really loving this hat. She's like 1 and a bit years old. So yes, 1 finished object, 1 new work in progress. I think I might switch to DPNs. I'm not sure if I enjoy knitting on this. It's 2 cords from my Chiagu Shorties set attached together. And it's got quite a join. And yeah, so I might try and switch over to my DPNs in a little bit, or maybe I'll do a bit of magic loop. I think these are really cute and I've loved working on them. The next project I have to show you is my Fisherman Aran cable jumper that's color blocked. I haven't decided what I'm calling it, but if you're a returning viewer, you might remember it. I've talked about this a lot over the past couple of months, and if you're new, welcome. This is my Fisherman color block Aran Fisherman jumper. I have done almost 2 sleeves, but the project is kind of on pause temporarily for a few different reasons. But let me just show you what I've done, and then I'll tell you about what's going on with the project. So it's knit in pieces on a 5mm needle. I'm using Jamieson and Smith held double, and I don't know my gauge off the top of my head, but yeah, knit in pieces and seamed. and this is a sleeve. I like starting cable, like big cable knits at the sleeves, because it gives me a much more manageable number of stitches while I get my head around knitting cables. I've knit quite a few cable patterns now, but it always takes me like a couple of hours at the beginning of knitting to really sink my teeth into it and like remember what I'm doing. And you know, it's the sort of thing where once you warm your mind up to it, it becomes intuitive. But for the first little while, I find it quite tricky, like placing all of the markers. And I admit, changed this cable for changed the cable in the pattern for this cable, so there's just a little bit more calculation to do with that. So yeah, that's why I like to start with the sleeves. I find that it works really well. Also, if you make a big mistake, which I did on my last colorwork project, not colorwork, cabled project, it's just so much less to rip out. So yeah, this is my first sleeve. Jamieson and Smith. I don't know what color name it is. I'm sorry. And then this is Ul Centrum 4-ply in like an apricot color. It's quite close to my skin tone. I bought this for a colorwork project I was doing, my Roosty vest, because it's sort of a color palette similar to this. It was a lot of like kind of greens on the more blue side, and I had a couple of options as the main contrast sort of blip in the center of each motif, and I knew I wanted sort of like an orange or a red or a pinky color, so this was one of the ones I was trying out. But compared to those colors, which were all really beautiful, but really beautiful and a little bit desaturated and dyed in the wool, and they all had quite a depth of color. This looked like a neon, it looked like a mistake when it was in that pattern. So I didn't end up using it for that, but I did still have it. And yeah, so I used it in this sleeve because I thought it looked quite nice with this teal. This yarn I didn't really enjoy working with in the end. I found that it quite hurt my wrist after a while. It's a bit thicker than the Jamieson and Smith, and it had a ton of vegetable matter in it. Normally I don't mind the vegetable matter at all, like I'll leave it in, but since the color was so light, it just made it look a bit dirty if I left it in, because all of the vegetable matter was a darker color than this apricot or peach. So I did end up having to pick almost all of them out. I mean, there's still a couple in there, but where they are in there, just because of the color, it makes it look a bit scruffy, which I don't love. So, and it was quite difficult to get the veg matter out without sort of damaging the integrity of the ply, because it's a little bit felted in the strand. I think that in a darker color, it could be really nice. It's definitely a more rustic yarn. I think it would be really good for color work, which is what I originally bought it for. But yeah, I am glad to be, almost finished this skein. It's not quite done. I ended up with like this much left, which is maybe 7 grams. But I got to use quite a bit of it. Now, the only issue that I think that this is too deep of a yoke for me. If I show you with that being like here, my armpit is here, and this is where the underarm of the jumper would be. So as you can see, I think that that's a bit too deep. My elbow is here. Basically exactly at the color change. So I wanted it to be oversized. I'm thinking that that might be a bit too oversized. I'm not really sure though. It's just hard to tell. I'll show you my other sleeve, which I've also done a lot of. So here's my other sleeve. I turned my lamp back on in case it would make you be able to see better. I've done up to the decrease point. So there was a part in the pattern that I was following where you knit the sleeve, part of the end of the raglan, you're not increasing on the sleeve anymore. So I'm reverse engineering that pattern, which is the Cordy pattern from the Moon and Turtle book. Reversing it and knitting it in pieces because I thought that the fit looked really nice, but I actually think that maybe my row gauge is too thick. And it's just not gonna really work. Maybe I'll keep the shaping that I wanted to do for the neckline because I really like it, but I think that this might be too deep of a yoke for me. I am also making a size that's very oversized. I think I'm giving myself 10 inches of positive ease. So it might just be that the raglan is gonna be low no matter what, but I'd like to avoid it being too low. So I'm not sure. My first option, if I want to just nip this in the bud, is to basically cut this flat portion out and graft it back together. I think that I could do that quite, not easily, but I think I can make it happen. I think I have the skills. There's about 14-ish rows of knitting straight without decreasing, and each of these is 12 rows. So I could cut and then graft it into this, like I could just cut one of these repeats out, if that makes sense. It would be a challenge, but it might be a fun challenge. And then this one I stopped knitting right after the flat portion, so I would just unravel these rows. But I probably do this one first because it's harder, so that I can just match this one to this one. I've used all of this teal color, 2 out of the 3 balls of this purple, and all of this lime green. And when I saw that, I knew that I did not have enough yarn to finish this project. And so I pulled out my stash and laid it all out on the floor. I love doing that. I end up doing that quite often. And looking through the colors I had, the fingering weight colors that are sort of a similar style of wool, and picked the ones that I thought would go well with my palette. And this peach was and then I'll just keep finishing my thought. I calculated how many meters per gram each of those would have, and I calculated how many meters per gram the Jamieson and Smith has when I hold it double. And this apricot was the closest by far. It's a little thicker. It's like 2.3, this is roughly 2.3, 2.4 for the Jamieson and Smith. The apricot was about 2.1, so 0.2 or 3 meters per gram difference when held double. And the difference is noticeable. Like you can, at least I can really feel the difference between these two sections. I think it's fine. Like I don't think it's gonna mess with the way that the jumper sits, but this was the closest, so everything else was even further away. And I was thinking about using Holst because I have quite a lot of Holst Super Soft, but the Holst Super Soft was like 2.9 or something. It was like the difference between this and this doubled, but thinner. And then I had also tried knitting with, what's it called? Biche Bouche, held double, but that one is also thinner and I could really tell. So I don't actually have any more yarn in stash that I think I could use with this project. So I bought some more Jamieson and Smith to go with it, because I've used almost 3 full colors. That's almost half of my yarn on just the sleeves. So I bought 4 more colors, and I'm pretty excited about it. I think that they're going to be really good. Yeah, it means that I don't have to worry about like the different yarns going together poorly. So I think it was the right decision. And I got some darker colors and I think it'll balance out the palette really well. So yeah, this is apparently Hulk trousers colors. So that's kind of cool. The sleeves have been fun to knit. I'm not knitting on this anymore until the yarn that I bought arrives. I bought it straight from the Jamieson and Smith website. I know that you can buy this yarn in the States from a couple different places, but from what I have seen, if you buy it here, it'll cost like $8, maybe $9 per 25 gram ball. And if you buy it from the website, it'll cost £3, and the shipping for me was £12. So since I was buying 12 balls, 4 colors, 3 of each, it was well worth it for me to just buy it directly from Jamieson and Smith and pay for the international shipping. Because yeah, it's very expensive to buy here. I mean, it's probably expensive to import, but if you're buying that much, I think it just makes sense to get it right from there. So that is the story. I'm still really loving this project. I have it out. I keep it in my like daily knitting basket because it makes me really happy to look at. Even though I think I might need to do some sweater surgery for this, it still makes me very happy to look at. I'm just not really sure. That is a significantly deeper yoke. I think I would want like half of that. And I think it makes more sense to try and do sweater surgery than to unravel. And that's just the sort of person I am. It's a kind of fun challenge. And also, if it goes poorly, I can just unravel back and then splice the yarns together and then knit it back up. I'm not really risking anything here. So yeah, lots of exciting more things to come with this. I think that even though it's still very hot outside, it's just the perfect time of year to make a jumper that you're really excited about, because then you get all winter to wear it and all autumn. And I just think that it's a great time of year for that, because I'm just very excited. The weather's finally cooling down. It's been quite a hot summer here. So yeah, I hope that you are excited about the jumper too. I've been talking about it for a really long time because the yarn was a Hanukkah gift from my boyfriend, and it was a really fun activity. So yeah, it's really exciting to get to it. I think that this is my last project to show you. I am now very aware of just how much knitting I've done in the past 2 weeks. I knew it was a lot. My wrists really hurt. I think I need to take a couple days off, but I've just been really thrilled by it all. So I started, sorry, I should not get distracted. I started another jumper project that I have been hotly anticipating and been thinking about and mulling over for a long time. And yeah, I finally started it. I showed you, I think 2 episodes ago, that I got this pattern book by Sandnes Garn. It's 2202. If you would like to read that, there it is. And I think that Knitting Traditions has this book and has made a couple of the patterns from it. like the Amy slipover. I'm not super interested in making that right now, but maybe in the future. And I think maybe she's knit a couple other patterns. Anyway, I was looking to knit a quarter zip jumper, and this one really caught my eye. I was sort of thinking about the Lanark jumper by Creabea, but it has an all over half brioche stitch pattern, and I wanted to knit stockinette. So I saw this one. I was buying some yarn from, I think it's called Knit and Living, a yarn shop online in the UK, and I saw that you could get this from there, so I got it. They also have the best deal I have ever seen on Lang lace weight mohair. It's 10 pounds a ball, and then anywhere else I've seen is like $20 or $22 or like pounds. So yeah, that's just a really good deal. They don't have all the colors, and they don't have like quantity of all of the colors. Like I wanted to get a sweater quantity of navy, but they only had 4 of them. 4 might have been enough. Now I'm second guessing myself. Anyway, I did buy some yarn this week, which isn't here yet, but it's just more mohair from this shop. But so that's where I got this from. So if you're looking for some of the Sandnes Garn pattern booklets and you are in the UK, or you don't mind paying for shipping — I don't really mind paying for shipping, especially if I'm getting a really good deal anyway — then that's a really good place to look. Although I'm a little bit like, maybe I shouldn't tell everyone about this great deal, because then what if it becomes really popular? But I think it's fine. I want you to know about it, viewer. So I really like that yarn shop. They don't have a huge selection, but they have the occasional extremely good price. Anyway, I'm making the quarter zip pattern from this book, which is the Gia Zip Genser. And here are the pictures of it. They make it in this beautiful lime green, and I think that they're using Sunday held double and a mohair, or maybe just Sunday held double. I'm not sure. I think Sunday's a fingering weight, but I do find that fingering weight held double is a bit thicker than in DK. But when I had purchased this, I bought myself some of that mohair that I was talking about, the Lang mohair. I really liked the look of it, because I prefer my mohair to have a high silk content and a low mohair content. Like 60-40 is good, but most indie dyed and also just commercial mohairs are like 75-25 or even 80-20 mohair silk. So I think that the effect of the high silk content mohairs is really beautiful and quite subtle, and I find them to be quite soft. So I just love those. And Pearl Sew's tussock I think is 60-40, so that's a good one. But this mohair I think is 55-45 or 50-50 or something. I don't have a ball with a ball band here, but here's what it looks like. I think this is the silver colorway. Look at my nails. I did them this week. I think they're really nice. I wanted like a shiny color that matched base color, and I had this shiny blue and this like light blue, and then I filed them down into square shape, and it's just my normal nails. I don't know, I'm quite good at doing my nails, but I think that even with that, this is a real win. So yeah, this is the mohair, and I thought that I knew I wanted to use it with, which is the Hedgehog Tweedy that I have had in my stash since the year 2020, early 2021. I bought it right when it came out in the second drop. So they came out, and then I think like 6 weeks later they came out with a second drop. That second drop was the one that I bought, and it was before La Bien-Aimée did Corey Worsted. I think it was like really early in the colorful tweed. I feel like now you can get quite a lot of colorful tweed yarns, but I don't know, I had never seen anything like it and I thought it was just beautiful. So I bought 7 skeins of Hedgehog Fibers Tweedy in the original sort of light gray colorway. I had no plans, it's a DK weight. I'm glad that I bought 7 skeins because that was a point in time where I was buying a lot of like 1 skein, 2 skeins, or I'd do like a sweater project but only buy like 700 meters because I wanted to try and save money, but it didn't really make sense because I was buying so much yarn. It would have been better to buy like 1/4 of the amount of yarn, but buy like a full sweater quantity when I did buy it. They cost like $31 each. I don't know. I've been going through my yarn stash a lot over the past day or two because Steve and Wes just announced the yarn information about this year's MCAL, and I feel sort of like all over again shocked by how much money I spent on yarn those like 2019, 2020, and the start of 2021. So I'm glad it's not like that anymore for me, but I am still working my way through it. But this is a case where I'm really glad that I bought it. So I made 2 swatches holding 1 strand of this and 1 strand of Tweedy together. And here are the swatches. The recommended needle size was a size 6 US, 4mm. And I don't remember how many they wanted you to get. It could be 19 stitches. I think I had 21 stitches with the 4mm size. So then I made another swatch with a 4.5mm size. Same yarn configuration, same everything except for needle size, same number of stitches in these 2 swatches. And I hit gauge bang on with this, but I just really preferred the material of the first one. If I just put them here, you can kind of see that this one's coming off quite a bit darker, even if I switch them around. Okay, it's a little bit less obvious on the camera, but the bigger size looks a bit darker. I guess maybe there's more room for the mohair halo to like cast a tone in between stitches. They're both beautiful fabrics, but this one's just a bit sturdier, and I really liked that for what is going to be quite a structured garment. So I calculate what percentage smaller my swatch was than the gauge in the pattern, and I from that chose the 3rd largest size to knit, so that I think I ended up knitting the like 140 something centimeter bust to get like the 128 centimeter, 125 centimeter bust. So I'm knitting the 3rd size from the biggest to get a size that's sort of in the middle somewhere. There's a lot of sizes in this pattern. It doesn't say explicitly how many inches or centimeters of ease it recommends, which I think is a little, I don't know, it would be really nice if it told you, because I love the fit on the models, but I kind of think that that's maybe a way to make it look a little more size inclusive than it is. I think that the pattern goes up to like a 50 something inch bust, but then it sure looks like the model has like 15 inches of positive ease, but it just doesn't say. So I didn't really know how much positive ease to add in. And I never made a jumper of this shape before, or even, I don't own anything like this to measure from. So it's all a bit of a guess for me. But that's the size I'm making. That was the reasoning behind these 2 swatches. Both beautiful fabrics, just in this case, the denser one I thought would go better. And I cast on. It's very exciting for me because I've had this yarn for so long. well, not the mohair, but I've had the regular yarn for so long. And I'm finally getting to use it. And it is just beautiful. I meant to say that when I was holding up the swatches. I just love it. I think it's stunning. I love the little neon speckles and even like the dark speckles. It's got a little bit of stellina, maybe? Like tinsel in it. It's not scratchy, but I think it's really cool. It's probably not something I would buy like a dedicated skein of, but it's fun to have it in this tweed yarn. The only drawback is I think that many of the like tweedy nips are just gonna fall off in the first wash. I'm not sure how well they're stuck on. I haven't been removing any, obviously, but sometimes they just fall off. So yeah, I don't quite know how much I'm going to retain of the nips, but I hope a lot of them. And okay, so it's time to show you what I've got. I've knit so much on this. I've done the back panel. It's knit from the top down. It's a drop shoulder. And then I think you do the collar last, but I might do it in a different order because I think it'll probably be easier to know how long to make the sleeves if the collar's done. And I'm probably gonna have to, well, I might have to order the zipper online, and it'll be easier to wait for the zipper if I'm still knitting on the body rather than if everything's done except for the zipper. So, and I can't order it till I've knit it. So I think I'll probably join in the body, knit a little bit, and then do the rest, and then come back to the body. So yeah, I've done the back. It's got a lot of stockinette curl. That's the fabric. And then I've done the two front portions, and I've just joined them, and I've knit one row since joining them. So that is where this is at. I'll put it on, not that it will be very interesting, but I've always been told I look really bad in gray. But I don't know, not everything is gonna look the best. Sometimes you just have to make what you want to make. And you know, it's not that I don't subscribe to some colors looking better or worse. It's just that I don't really want that to stop me from wearing what I want to wear most of the time. So yeah, it's got this sort of squared off neckline, which matches, which you can kind of see how that's going to turn out from the picture. And yeah, I have another, I don't know, a good amount of the front to go, like maybe this much. What's that, like 3 or 4 inches? And then I join the body in the round, and the body I think has quite rapid decreasing, but I think I have less ease than the original, so I might knit a little bit before doing the decreasing, but I'm not totally sure. I might do the sleeves first. There are a lot of people who've made this pattern and who have written up notes on Ravelry, so I'll be referring to other people's notes. I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, there's quite a lot of feedback that the pattern is hard to follow. So far it's been fine for me, but I haven't done the difficult part yet. So yeah, and I think also there's a petite knit pattern that's also got a 1/4 zip, and I think that people in their notes have said that they used her tutorials for installing the zipper. So if I'm having trouble, it's nice to know that I can check that out as well. So there is quite a bit of stockinette curl on the edges here, but it comes to about here. which is less ease, I think, than most people have. I think it'll be fine though. I mean, it definitely is big enough. So it's very exciting. I've used up 1 and a little bit balls of the Tweety out of 7, so I'll definitely have enough. And I've used up not even 1 out of the 5 balls of mohair that I have. So yeah, you can see where I picked up stitches in this seam. I think normally I can do it better than this. You can see the seam right there, but maybe it'll block out. It's not bad, it's just normally it's like seamless. I don't know if that's just the cast on I used is different from the normal one, or maybe it'll block out, but it's not bad. It's just a little less polished than I would normally do. This is another one that I think I'm gonna just use so much. I'm gonna wear this a lot in the autumn and winter. And that mohair is gorgeous and soft. And it's changing the color of the yarn in a really beautiful way. This color yarn with this color mohair makes this color fabric. If you see, like, the fabric is quite a bit, it's like perfectly in the middle. It's kind of cool. I think it's like just, it's not quite far enough to marl. It is far enough for it to like visually significantly change the look of the color. I'm not really a neutrals person. I will occasionally wear black sometimes, but I am really not like a beige. Very seldom do I wear white. I would just generally wear a lot of color. So this gray will be new for me, but it's got a lot of fun neon in it. So that is fun, and I like that a lot. So that is my Gia zipper Genser. I'm really excited about it. I've knit so much on it in the past 2 weeks. Really just, I spent like a week on the sleeves and then less than a week on this, and my wrists are killing me, so I really need to take a couple of days off. It's just difficult to do though because I'm loving the project. I do think the stockinette in the round will be much easier on my hands. So maybe I should just like keep going till I get there. But yeah, I've been just loving it, loving every second of it. And especially it's nice to not be isolating in this room anymore and to be able to like go out and then come back and live my life and knit here because I'm choosing to. I do have one other thing to show you. Hello from the floor. I thought that I would do my last little section sitting on the ground because I think that there might be better lighting down here, and that's quite important when it comes to color choice. Stephen West released his MCAL, like the first information about his MCAL for this year, and I am participating. I'm really excited for it. Maybe at the end of last year I said I wasn't gonna do it, but it's been a while. I am pumped. Of course I will be knitting it, and I don't want to buy any yarn to make this project. I have enough. So I have all of my options laid out in front of me, which I will show you. I decided this year that I wanted to knit in superwash merino or sort of similar. I have one BFL option, but superwash merino or something that is interchangeable with that. And ideally, I would use some of the single ply yarn that I have in my stash that I bought again in 2020, 2019, 2021 when I was quite new to knitting and a bit spend crazy. I lived right next door to Argyle Yarn Shop in Brooklyn, and I was just always in there. Since then, I have sort of decided that I'm not going to be making any garments out of single ply yarn anymore. It just wears too fast. It wears like while you're knitting it. So this will be a great opportunity to use some of the single ply superwash merino that I have. So I guess I'll keep that in mind as I'm showing you my options. So I pulled out my bin, well, a few weeks ago, I should rewind. I pulled out the bin and there was just so many moths in my superwash bin. It was horrifying. I have been slowly working through getting rid of all of the moths in my stash, and I finished getting rid of all the moths in my stash in Scotland. I put every single yarn that I owned into the oven and from there straight into plastic bags, separated in smaller plastic bags as well, so that if a moth did get in, it would just be less yarn that was contaminated and need to be treated again. So I hadn't done that in the States yet, but I'm now working on it. I think that I've actually gotten rid of all of the moths now. So there's no living moth, but you might see some moth residue. I'm sorry, it's gross. I'm gonna wash it once I knit with it and probably get rid of any parts that are too mothy. But there's just, I have dealt with it. Like, I put it all into these Lakeland jumper bags, and each bag got a week in the freezer. So the first yarn that I have that I'm thinking of using, oh yeah, I pulled out all of the ones where I have 2 or more skeins of one color or of similar enough colors. So I've got 2 skeins of this Hedgehog Fibers artifact. One of them's in a ball. I haven't used any of it. It's this kind of cool taupe color with this yellow and blue speckles and a little bit of pink. It is a sport weight base, so each of them are 300 meters, but I think that will be fine. If I run out, I run out. And a lot of the time you don't use the whole 2 skeins of yarn. So that's the first one that I'm maybe hoping to use. I'll put that there. I don't know if that's good for seeing it, but it's better than nothing. Okay, I have 2 other single ply options. Both of them are from Swoon Fibers, who's a dyer that I was obsessed with and I still really like, but I bought so much that I've been knitting through that for years. So I haven't had any cause to buy any more recently, but I still think that her work is amazing. And this is Berry Compote, I think? Berry Pigments. And it's an 80/20 single ply merino. I really love this color. I originally bought this to make a jumper out of it, but you know, I want to spend my time making jumpers that are gonna last, and even though it's nylon in it, I think it would be better in an accessory. I do think that these 2 are kind of too close for me to make the shawl with. My last single ply yarn is this. It's also from Swoon Fibers, and it's called December Mind. I've made a jumper out of this. It was a bit of a fail. I made it in 2021. I'm thinking about unraveling it, but I haven't really gotten around to that. It's beautiful and it looks gorgeous knitted up. This is a merino silk. And I just think that this is quite variegated, so I think that that's maybe a little bit too busy to be that nice. And it's definitely too close to this, I think, to look good. While I think I want to use 1 out of the 3 of these, I don't think they are good together. You can really see how similar these 2 are. It's quite useful to see it from a distance. The next one that I'm gonna show you is this color from Neighborhood Fiber Co. I just don't think my lighting is that good today. It's very overcast, but this is like a very orangey red. I have 2 skeins of it. It's like an orangey medium red. It's the color Bolton Hill, and it's from, it's a studio sock, but it's from before they switched all of their yarn bases. And I do think I'm allergic to the Neighborhood Fiber dye, because whenever I use it, my finger pads kind of peel off, but I still want to use it. I want to use what I have, and they've changed their base, so I might not be allergic to it anymore. I'm not allergic to wearing it, it's just knitting it. Yeah, my skin doesn't like. But I love this color, and I don't know if it looks good with any of the others. So I'll put it here. We've got this combination. I don't know. This combination, which I'm also not so sure about. And then this combination, which I also don't really know. Next, we've got this other Neighborhood Fiber Co. yarn. It's the color Truxton Circle, and it's sort of this purple. I don't know what type of purple you'd call this. It's like a more warm toned purple. I have 1.5 skeins of this. I also just think that will be fine. You know, I don't need a huge shawl. Maybe I just won't do a border. Maybe I'll do a contrasting border. I think as long as I've got 1.5 skeins of each color, I'm good to go. So 1.5 skeins of this. And this one I think is kind of promising. I think it looks pretty good with this berry color. That could be nice. Those are quite nice together. I think I like the berry one more, but I think it's too close to this December Mind color. And I don't know about these two together. They're kind of nice. Some good options there. I've got a couple more options to show you. So we've finished the ones where it's simple, and now we're doing a bit of a stretch. So these are 3 skeins that I have. They're from Swoon Fibers. Each of them is a lace weight BFL superwash, and each has 800 meters. So I could hold it double, hold 2 of them together, and get 400, and get the two skeins of 400 meters. It would be a little bit marled, but if I held these 2 together, it would be lighter, and then if I held these 2 together, it would be darker. So either way, it would be not a solid or even a tonal probably, but I didn't have a lot of like sort of neutral options, so I thought it might be good to pull these in, and I think that that could be really interesting. I, however, don't really know. I don't really like that. I don't really like that. I think that this, with all of them, is just too close. And then this, I think, is too close. So I'm not so sure, but it could be an interesting option. So I'll put those back there. Can you see them all? The next one is a color family, really. It's 3 different skeins, all in the same color family. This is a color, I do not know why I bought this. I mean, I could use this as a band-aid. It's very similar to my skin color. It's by Neighborhood Fiber Co. It's Cross Street Market. I think all of their yarns are named after places in either Baltimore or DC. I think Baltimore, because I think that's where they're based. I really like Neighborhood Fiber Co. I think they do some great solids and tonals, and I've had some really nice yarn from them. I just sort of happen to be a bit allergic to the dye. I've also got this yarn from Madeline Tosh. It's a single ply. I don't know what it's called. I bought it a long time ago. And then I have this West Yorkshire Spinners yarn in their sock yarn, and they're all quite similar. So I think I could use a combination of these in the shawl if this color was good with any of them. It would be very nice to use these 2. because I could use this for socks. I've already made one pair of socks from this ball. I think I have like 70 grams left. So they're similar enough that I think I could use them in the shawl and it would look fine. So, and these ones are quite good because I think that they contrast with a lot of them. It's just a question of whether that's, I think it looks nice, but I don't know if that's really my style. I think these could work. I don't know if I love it. I don't think that these two go together. This could go, I don't know. I think that the purple is the best combination with this color. This is much easier than this, I think, because it's a bit more of a dynamic color. Like that looks quite nice, I think. But I just have one skein of this and I would probably just use them both. So this is that's that. And then there's one more color, or a combination of colors. So it's this blue combination. These two are from Neighborhood Fiber Co. The big skein is called Georgetown, and it's this beautiful primary, almost electric blue. Really nice color. This is a color that it doesn't have a name. It was from their Pride kit a few years ago. And then this is Hedgehog's single ply sport weight base. I used like 20 meters of this skein for just the last bit of the bind off of my slip stravaganza. So I have almost a full skein of this. I really like the Hedgehog Fiber Sporty Single Base. I don't think they do it anymore. I did buy quite a lot of it. It's what this is. Yeah, but I've only got the one skein. So I think that these three, although they're a little different, would be nice together. And like, oh, see, this one's been a little bit moth-eaten. So I probably wouldn't get the whole 400 yards, but there's still a lot of really usable good yarn in the skein. And the moths themselves are dead because of their time in the freezer. So this could be really nice with this, maybe. It's I don't know. I don't think that this is very me. I don't think that that's very me. I don't think that that's particularly good. That could be like a very moody color scheme. I kind of like that. And then, oh, did I look at it with this? I think I like this combo as well. So I'm sorry if this was a long and boring section. If you watched it, I would love to know what you think. Right now, my top contenders are, I think, this, and then this, or maybe even this one, for a bit of a low contrast, moody sort of situation. It's pretty interesting. I think that I think I'm a person who likes most colors, but my preferences have really changed over the years, so it's pretty fun to look through and combine all of this yarn that I bought like years ago and make something that I'm hopefully going to really like with it. And it's fun to use stuff that I already have. I think it would be super easy to make a beautiful color palette if I bought another color to go. Like, I think I can make any of these yarns work really well by adding another color, but I don't want to do that. I want to use what I've got. So I guess I'll keep you updated on what I decide or what my thoughts are. Maybe I'll post on Instagram asking for advice about it. The reason I want to go with the Superwash Merino / BFL this year is because last year I did the MCal using Neutrogen, and it came out really big and it was fun, but now I'm ready to sort of go back to what is like required in the pattern. That's why I'm narrowing it down to this and not looking at any of my other yarn. But this is a lot of good options. I think I can definitely find something good. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been quite a long one. I hope that you've had a really good 2 weeks, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!